Swing it, boys, swing for the fence. Shove it, boys, make 'em miss. Some big league chew and a baseball souvenir. Come on, sing with me now. The Joe is home, sweet home. It's roll, tide, roll. The Joe is home, that's right. Home, sweet home. Hey, look, is that Roll Tide Willie over there? Blitz, Bama, Blitz.
Welcome once again, everybody. It's the Weekly Joe podcast. We are coming to you live from all over the country tonight. I think we've got just about every section of the country covered. Very excited tonight to have Tommy Hunter on with us. Former Alabama pitcher, big league career for 16 seasons? I think parts of 16 seasons, pitched through 2023 with a number of teams. He's going to give us some insight on his career, his time at Alabama, and what he's doing now. And in the green room before this, we've talked about a lot of opinions we have, and so we're gonna have a lively discussion tonight, I think. I'm Paul Graham. I'm as usual your host. Going to try to make sure we flow well tonight. We got Meghan Dennis coming to us from the Conway, South Carolina bureau, home of the Chanticleers. Drew Champlin, our resident Hooverite and former sports writer, and of course Roger Myers, the Godfather. And then we have Tommy Hunter. Tommy coming to us from Cleveland, Ohio. Right.
Hello. Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Hey, appreciate you being with us. And you're I think our fifth guest we've had on the show. We had your former teammate on, Alex Avila, a couple of weeks ago. Had a really good discussion with him, and maybe hit some of the same topics from a pitcher standpoint that he covered from a catcher standpoint. So first of all, how you been? Maybe tell us a little bit about what's going on with life since you've been retired for two-ish years now.
Well, the adjustment period from playing baseball to staying home every day is very different. My wife would attest to that. She knows, me being home all day adds another kid to the mix. So, and the biggest one of them all, of course. But I have 4 kids. I've got 3 boys, 9, 7, soon to be 4 on the 16th. And I have a 16-month-old little girl. We had a little girl, and now we are completed. No more children.
Shut it down.
You're gonna have to update your Wikipedia page.
Yeah. So, but now I am a dad. I'm coaching. I have the 9-year-old and the 7-year-old are both playing baseball. Awesome. So doing the coaching stuff. I'm a gardener. I make sourdough bread. It's weird, but I mean, it's some of the things that you don't ever get to do, and I'm starting to do it. And I'm kind of one of those guys, if I go for it type of deal. So my garden is ridiculously huge. I've got like 150 tomato plants. I've got like more pepper plants than you could ever imagine. And my kids just deliver produce throughout the summer to all the neighbors in the house. So that's a fun thing that we do. But baseball's life in this house, and it probably always will be. And fortunate my boys love it. So that's kind of like what we do. My middle one is crazy, as all second born children usually are. Exactly. From what I hear. My third one is an absolute monster because he's trying to keep up with the first 2. My first one's just the sweetest thing in the world. Just happens to be trapped in a large body like myself. And then the little girl is going to run the house. So it's what it is. So I'm just, that's kind of like what we do. We wake up and see what the day unfolds pretty much every day. I've got, and playing baseball, man, just trying to teach some of these young kids how to do it. But, it's interesting because they have no real idea of, they know where I come from, but they don't know where I come from type of deal. Right. And it's always fun because most of the time my oldest kid would listen to the local mechanic about a baseball swing rather than me. So it's the same problems that everybody else has. I have them. It's no different, but it's fun. And, I trying to stay in more games this year. I got tossed the very first game of my youth career,
9-year-old
coaching
game?
career.
Yeah, like
It was an 8-year-old game. I can't even say it was really, it's probably one of the best stories I think I have, but it's really, it's kind of an awful story, but really funny at the same time. The, and I don't even know if I can. I got tossed for something I shouldn't have done. But I wasn't being intentionally mean. It just sometimes you get diarrhea in the mouth and the things come out like the the I can't. It's just so. But anyways, the guy,
We'll do this one off
the
air.
umpire was really nice. I was just trying to help him out. He was really, really nice, and he kept making the same mistakes over and over again.
We see that a lot at the Joe.
And being, I thought we were having fun. I didn't know he was upset. I thought it was just friendly banter, and he took it way more personal than what I expected him to take it. And next thing you know, I'm tossed in an 8-year-old baseball game, and I'm like, where do I go? Like, what do you mean?
Did you ever get tossed in a big league game?
Yeah.
Only once. One time.
I think I remember. I mean, I watched every game you ever pitched.
One time. It was Ted Barrett. I'll never forget it. Ted Barrett. Oh man, we were playing the Yankees.
Which
17?
Sorry. Yeah, I was with Baltimore. We were in Baltimore playing the Yankees. It was a chase for first place. The series was dictating it. It was a runners on first and second. Gosh, what was the guy's name? Somebody I shouldn't have given up a home run. Respectfully, shouldn't have given a home run up to. But anyways, 2-2 pitch, backdoor two seam. I absolutely nailed it. Ted Barrett balled me, and I mean, our whole team was walking off the field. And so tuck tail, get back up on the rubber. Next pitch, home run. We ended up losing by a run. Right. I'm walking off the mound. Ted's a super Christian guy in charge of all the youth Christian of everything in the world. He's the nicest man in the world. Also happened to be Mike Tyson's sparring partner.
Wow.
So yeah, there's backstories behind this, but it didn't matter at that point. So I'm not happy. I'm walking off, and I go, "Hey Ted, where was the 2-2?" Walking off, the umpire kind of knows. He walked over because he knew I was going to ask about it. And I asked, and he said he had it a half a ball off. And I stopped in my tracks. I said, where the fuck was the other half of the ball? And then at that point, I turned and I was going at him. My switch flipped. And then I get hit from the side. I get hit from this side, and Buck Showalter standing in front of me. And I I don't know. He said I picked him up off the ground. I don't think I did that, but I moved him to the side, and then I just kept walking. Buck's, he's not stopping me.
No, Buck's not small, but he's not
stopping me. So the next thing I know is I'm getting hit. Now I'm getting hit by multiple people. Chris Davis, man, everybody's over there.
Big dudes,
yeah, and I'm tossing some of these guys like it was, and thank God it was like in between the innings, so there's no real TV on it. So I mean, it was bad. I got yeeted immediately, but I told him, I said, I want him. I don't care if you knock Mike Tyson out 10 times. I'm coming for you right now. And so I get back into the clubhouse, and at that point I had calmed down. I calmed down pretty quick. I'm not, I don't know. I can get that level, but then it's gone immediately. So I'm walking back in the clubhouse, probably cracked open a cold one, sitting in my locker. Next thing I know is boom, the door slams behind me. In my office now. Scream. And I'm like, oh shit.
Buck,
Buck Showalter called me into the office, and he said, "If you ever pick me up like that again," and I mean, we've talked about it a few times since. So I got to play with him later on, with the Mets when he was there, and the story came up every once in a while, and we get a good laugh at it now. But then the other crazy part is I was at a retreat of some sort. My wife and I, athletes. It was an outreach program, whatever. I get a tap on my shoulder, and it was Ted Barrett. And I turned around and I went, "Oh, hi, Ted." He goes, "Hi," and I was like, "Ted, I'm sorry about how that whole thing went down." He goes, "Tommy, I'm so sorry too." And he gave me a hug, and it was weird, but all good. Yeah. But no, that was the only time I'd gotten tossed, and then now I've been tossed for a second time. This one happened in 8U.
Yeah.
8U. It wasn't even an outdoor game either. It was indoors. It was the most awful thing. I'll tell you the whole.
Send you outside instead of sending you inside.
I was like, I didn't understand it. I mean, I don't know. The guy. I'll tell you the story. I can't hold it back. The gentleman had one arm, and he was umpiring, and we were having a hard time deciphering safe and out calls, if you could imagine. So, well, I mean, this is serious. Our kids were having trouble, and this other team was trying to take advantage of it. 8 years old. These other coaches are telling the kids to run. The guy was saying out, and I just walked up to him. I said, "Hey, we need help with this, right? You have to verbalize this because there's it's hard to decipher some safe and out calls." And I said that, but I was being serious. I wasn't trying to do anything. And of course he was like, "All right, that's enough. I was like, "Okay." So the very next inning, it happened again. And they did it again. And I'm like, "Whoa, is he safe or is he out? We don't know. What are you doing? We just talked about this. Just verbalize it a little better. Let the kids help out. And we as the coaches can help out, with all this." And, once again, he said it. He goes, "Now, anything from you?" Because those coaches start chirping that, "Hey, how are you going to let that guy talk to you like that?" type of stuff. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is an 8-year-old baseball game. We're just here to have fun. This is ridiculous. And next thing I know, happened again. And of course, I was like, "Look, dude, look, your safe and out calls are the exact same. You have to, and then of course, as soon as I said that, gone. And I'm like, "No, where do you want me to go? I can throw, where am I going? My kid's here. I'll get arrested if I leave my kid here. This is stupid. What are we doing?" Anyways, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It wasn't my fault, but I did get tossed in an 8U baseball game.
Did they know who you were? Did they think that you were trying to big time them?
Of course they did. This other team was talking trash, and my wife was out there. And they weren't even good at talking trash. It was just bad. It was just the whole thing. They were from West Virginia. They traveled to Cleveland, Ohio to play in an 8U coaches pitch tournament.
Oh goodness!
Just to give you an idea of who we were playing.
That's what you're dealing with. Yeah. So you're originally from Indiana area?
Indianapolis. Yeah.
How did you talk about your recruitment? How did you end up at Alabama? What were what were some other options for you there?
Roger, I don't even know if you know this. I wanted to go to Auburn.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't think you spread that around too much.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Auburn. I don't know why I had it. I actually wanted to go to Notre Dame first. I was told that I was too fat to pitch at Notre Dame, and that blew that out of the water. That coach ended up going to LSU, and we ended up waxing that ass in the SEC tournament. Yeah, so
we're getting waxed a lot right now.
He's in South Carolina now.
Yeah, well, good luck. Anyways, that's another story. But I wanted to go to Auburn, and then their entire coaching staff got fired, and they never called me.
Oh wow, okay. Was that Hal Baird, or was that after Baird? You remember?
I don't even remember.
Baird wouldn't have gotten fired.
It would have been okay.
Renfro was Steve Renfro, I think, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe so. Okay.
Who was the coach? Who was the coach when I was there of Auburn? It was
it was Tom Slater, I think.
Tom Slater.
Slater.
So I played with Tom Slater later and told him this story. That's another good one. But I wanted to go there. Tom Slater took over. They never called me, and so I got a little upset about it. Like, I mean, like, well, just call me. Like all you want to do. Whatever. So I asked my dad, who Auburn's biggest rival was, and so that's why I went to Alabama.
Well, in Gatewood, right?
Yeah, Jim Gatewood was a big part of it. So
I mean, not Jim Wells necessarily.
Jim Gatewood was a big part of me coming to Alabama.
Yeah.
Gatewood came saw me quite a bit. But I'll be honest, like I just wanted to destroy Auburn from that point forward. And that's why I think I fit in so well at Alabama. I mean, I'm from Indiana. I had no idea who Paul Bear Bryant was. I had no idea about Alabama football. I had no clue what I was stepping into. I just knew that it was Auburn's biggest rival, and that's where I was going.
That's awesome.
And then you used to hang out in Paul Bear Bryant's house quite a bit.
I know we did a lot. That's right.
I think they're going to have to give you let you talk to the team before the Auburn series every year going forward.
Well, that's not acceptable.
No, absolutely. Hey,
it is what it is, though.
Yeah, you spent 2 years at Alabama. Help me out, were the draft rules back then such, or were you the age you could get drafted?
Yeah, I think they're still the same.
It's the same.
With the age rules, but I turned 21 within 30 days of the draft. So my birthday's on July 3rd. Draft was June 6th and 7th. Yeah. So I fell right into it and sophomore draft eligible and
last first rounder we had until next year when LeBron.
Until next year, yeah. That's right. Hey, noticing it, kind of looking through your bio and kind of refreshing on it. So you were up. I mean, this is 2007. I guess you're up in the big leagues by the end of 2008.
Right.
Talk about how kind of big league ready people are these days. I mean, you were 21 and said you were probably one of the younger players in the majors at that time. I'm seeing guys now like, I saw the other day Dolander got drafted last year's was up from we're seeing guys now that we watched within the last 2 years of the Joe getting called up and are, like Skeens is a freak, obviously, but
Skeens, Cruz, Dylan Cruz.
Yeah. Talk about that from a pitcher standpoint. I mean, how ready are these guys? Is it different now than it was 20 years ago when you were coming up, 15 years ago?
I mean, I don't know if it's these guys they're like specializing a lot earlier. There's plus like weight programs, like just there's so much more access to quality stuff, like quality coaching. Right. You have Exos, you have Dr. Andrews' place down in Birmingham. Even the other one in Pensacola. Yeah. I mean, where there's a lot of these guys that are training a lot earlier and specifically training, right? Like they're getting after it, at a high level. And I think that's the big change that you're seeing now. Why these guys are capable of producing at such a high level at a young age.
Yeah.
And so baseball probably not even your best sport, right?
It's
two-time national judo champion.
Yeah,
judo,
it's hard to deny it now. I mean, like big after the fact, but at the time, no, I was a decent athlete. I mean, I was just kind of
very good athlete.
Yeah, I was a good athlete. I mean, exactly. I think I'm still a hitter at heart in baseball. I think there's not a question in my mind that I think I could have hit at a high level. And that's every pitcher's probably going to say the exact same thing, except for the kid from LSU that was a pitcher only that got a hit or whatever. That great skit that I got to watch on that. But I mean, the highlight of my entire major league career was getting my hit in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Bigger thrill than starting a World Series game.
100%, not a question in my life. Yeah, no question.
I mean, the dance at first base was pretty cool too.
Oh my God! Hey, I got it. I still got it. My hips don't lie. I'm telling you. Freddie. Freddie. I don't know. It was just. I mean, I don't know. Getting a hit in the big leagues. I mean, all my dreams came true at that moment right there. Like that, I had waited and waited and waited and waited and tried. I mean, my first like few at bats were just not fair. I mean, it was like Josh Johnson when he was in Miami, and then Johan Santana right after he threw a no hitter for the Mets. I mean, it was like those were my first 4 at bats in the big leagues, and it was like it was not even funny. Those guys were way better than me. And then I finally got someone that, like, I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't. It sounds bad to say it, but like I knew a first pitch fastball was going to be 92, 93.
92,
instead of 98, 99 from Josh Johnson. Like, I don't have a chance in hell of hitting that ball. Like not a lot of people did, and then Johan Santana, it was Johan Santana. I mean, sorry, but I mean, I knew I was going to get a first pitch heater, and I was like, I'm doing it. Running down the first base line, Freddie Freeman. I go, Frederick, you see that? That was an absolute laser. I have all my old former coaches, Ron Washington. I've got, like all former coaches on Atlanta over there. I mean, it was just, my team's going nuts over there. And then 2 batters later, I'm, Jonathan VR hits a home run, and I'm rounding the bases in Atlanta. I'm like, what? Like, what am I doing right now? And I'm play by play as I'm running around the bases. I know these guys thought I was absolutely insane. Hunter's rounding second. He's headed to third. Get the oxygen ready. Get the oxygen ready. He's making it to third. He's going home. And I debated on sliding. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, I'm gonna head first. No, I'm not. Don't you dare. And it was like one of those. I hit, and then I walked back in, and then I couldn't believe it, but I was like, I have to go back out and pitch now.
This
is terrible.
You're probably
how are we doing this? And then now you got a guy doing it and winning MVPs doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. But
I'm watching this thing on a perma loop. I just retweeted it from the podcast account. And the catcher's set up. He wants it low, and the pitcher kind of gets it up, kind of outer half. He did a good job pulling it. And the catcher's glove just drops immediately. He's so disgusted with his pitcher.
Yeah. Hey, I smacked it. I did. I did. I got to round the bases. Oh man, it was so much fun. I'm telling you, it was so much fun. But
awesome.
Yeah, that actually happened. But I really do think I'm a hitter. But the judo thing was I was young. I wanted to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I don't know, like every 4 or 5-year-old in the world at that time. And my grandmother got me these lessons, and then it turned into just my sister and I were both turned out to be pretty good at the whole. We had a really good class, and Mr. Park, the guy that taught us everything, he was legit, very good teacher, and we blossomed into some badass little kids.
That's right. Hey, get little stories about your time at Alabama. Or Roger, you might have some of those questions.
We got some stories there.
Yeah.
How about you were talking about how much you love basketball? How about when you told them you sprained your ankle falling down the steps of the
man, they caught me. That was the worst part about it. So I would go and play basketball a lot at the rec center, and I went up for a jump shot, came down on somebody's shoe, whatever, and my ankle blew up. So I had to come up with a story real quick. I told him I tripped and fell down the stairs at like the study hall place, which is the worst place I could have said to do it, because there's cameras everywhere. They check you and I'm an idiot. Well, they go back and they check the cameras to see when this was, and there's no camera footage of me anywhere. And I get called in, and it's like, all right, what were you doing? Because now we know. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I fell down the stairs. I'm sticking to my story. I don't care what you guys are saying. Yeah, they caught me. I remember that. Man, that was terrible.
Was it in season?
Of course it was. Of course it was. You can't. Hey, you can. I don't know. I needed to shoot. I loved basketball. I still love it. I still watch it on the regular. I was keeping up with Alabama basketball. That was unbelievable little run that they've been on the last
great run.
3-4 years. Nate Oates is doing a great job. That's incredible. I know they got the new big center coming in. Trust me, I'm following it a little bit. I like the basketball now.
Yeah.
I like the basketball. So yeah, but that was a good one. I heard Avila already got into some of the stories of the house.
Well, he kept it kind of. He said like one of the best stories was you bake because you like to bake.
Oh yeah,
he didn't tell any of the
baked the cake. That sheet cake thing that we baked. Oh my God, got sicker than a dog. We all puked everywhere. It was terrible.
But he didn't do it. How about our sushi dates?
I'll tell you that now. Hey,
about the first time you ever had sushi.
Yeah, it's the first time ever. Yeah, the first time I ever had sushi with Roger and Sherry. We went to Bento, right?
Bento, yes.
Another one.
Yeah.
And that time you like you said you order.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't order.
And you were looking at it like
no.
You were really just looking at it real.
Yeah, no, I know.
The next week when we went, he had studied for the whole week. He'd read up on sushi and he knew exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
But we used to have contests like Tejada was one of your roommates at one time, in freshman year. Tejada and Sherry and me and Tommy, and we'd have contests to see who could eat the most sushi.
We would crush too. That restaurant, and then
it expanded to Avila and
Bernard.
Bernard.
Do you remember when we showed up to that really fancy restaurant and I'm in like a cutoff and sweats and it's like I was so embarrassed. I was like, where was that?
Evangeline's over
across the it was unbelievable. I was like, Raj, why didn't you tell us we were coming to a place like this? What are you doing? I'm in sweatpants and flip-flops.
It was, because that was when it was you and Bernard and me and Sherry. We'd always go for sushi, but we decided to do something different. We go to Evangeline's.
Oh, man. I'm like, what in the world?
Bernard orders a steak and he wants French fries. So they send somebody to Burger King to grab him fries.
They went to Burger King to get fries because they didn't have fries. I remember that. Bernard's awesome. Oh, my gosh. Hey, we found his ring. Remember, we found his ring in your couch.
Did. Yeah.
I remember. Hey, it was fun. The tent. Yeah. Boy, you know what Sherry used to do for me. So I used to just not really do the football games. Like I was kind of weird about crowds and anyways, but she blew up a mattress for me. Do you remember that? Right?
Yeah.
Blew up a mattress
under the tables at the
and put it underneath the tables. And when everybody went to the games, I would go and take a nap underneath the tables on a blow up mattress. I'm telling you, man, it was. Hey, and then I was well rested when they got back, and I could do it for the rest of the night. But I always took a midday nap. I remember that like it was yesterday. That was so much fun, man.
Yeah.
That tailgate blew up after that. I mean, it just kept going and going.
It got big.
Thousands of people. It seemed like.
Oh man, those tailgates were money. Oh my gosh, they were so nice.
The cookouts Sunday cookouts.
Cookouts at the house. I do. I miss it all of it. It was so much fun. Yeah, my time there was. I had a great time. And we won some ball games too.
Yeah, 2006. That we talked a lot with Alex about the 2016. I mean, your impressions on that year. That was your freshman year, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And, it was incredible. I mean, we had some unbelievable talent on that team, and we played well together. There was just guys. It seemed like a lot of the good teams. It seems like there's somebody else stepping up every day, and that's like any good team I've ever been on. It's like there's not one guy most of the time. Like you have your studs, you have your guys that are just gonna just put up ridiculous numbers, but it seems like those guys were not always up in the situations on the really, really good teams. It was literally from top to bottom, somebody was doing something special, and that team played a big part of that as well. Except against North Carolina
Exactly.
when I was forced to throw to a guy that was supposed to bunt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Chad Flack. I'll never forget his name.
He hit one off you, and then he hits one off of D-Rob the next inning to win it.
The grand slam to win.
Disgusting.
After
Avila hit the 3-run home run to go up.
We were talking about, we bemoaned that game as the Chad Flack game, but how close it was to being the Alex Avila game. It was an inning away, and
Chad Flack. I'll never forget. Yeah. Jimbo steps up on that top step. Throw it in the zone, baby. Let him bunt it.
He didn't bunt it. Well, there was one guy who led off the inning, and he stuck his elbow into a pitch, I still remember that. It was a guy named Reed Frank, and he was batting left-handed. Sticks elbow into pitch. Now they would review it and call him back.
Probably keep back. Yeah.
They just let him go to first.
Too, right? Yeah.
But he got to go to first base, and I thought that really kick-started everything.
Yeah, but then we were kind of out of it though, and I mean it was like it was just we had a chance to get out of it right there, and I mean it was it was Chad Flack.
Yeah,
it was Chad Flack. Like
all guys on that team.
I know, out of everybody, and I'm like, and then I threw. I don't know. I remember it a little different, but I threw a curveball, and Jim got angry. Well, I threw a curveball because I wanted to make sure he was bunting. And I threw it. I know exactly what I was, and then I did an inside move. And I was like, I need to make sure this guy's bunting before I throw a fastball. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, and I threw the curve. So I did an inside move. And then the next pitch, I think the first pitch, I threw a curveball, and Jim's top steps me. Walks to the top step, throw it right down the middle, baby. I need a fastball. He's gonna bunt it. And I'm sitting there, and I remember looking at him and like almost disgusted, like, what are you doing? Why would you do this? And I'm like, all right. Here it is, right down the middle. Whack.
Mm-hmm.
That ball went 600. And I remember sitting there like, I gut punched, and then then everything, the emotions of that game. And the worst part about it is I had gotten, my lease on my apartment was up, and I was staying at the hotel that North Carolina was at.
Oh no.
And so when I walked back I remember my mom and dad were already there, and a couple other family members were already there, and they were kind of just standing there. And they had the entire lobby. It was all North Carolina. I'm actually in the North Carolina Hall of Fame. It's a picture of me giving up that ball.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Their Hall of Fame wall. Chad Flack. There's a big picture of me. Tim Fedorowicz. I played with him on that USA team with Tom Slater.
Yeah.
Tom Slater was one of the coaches. Yeah. Tim sent me that picture. It was a few years later. He goes, Tommy, you made our Hall of Fame. Congrats. I was like, oh, my God, I hate you. I hate you so much. But
I remember good stories from that Team USA when y'all went to Cuba.
I missed the bus. I missed the bus, and me and a guy, my roommate was Darwin Barney. We missed the bus, and Tim Corbin was the head coach. Tom Slater, Jim Schlossnagel was on the staff there.
Oh wow!
Who else? There was. I'm probably going to miss a couple people, but anyways, we were in Cuba, and Tim Corbin was pretty on it, like, be on time type of deal. And we missed the bus, so we had to get a cab, and it was an hour and 15-minute drive to get to this baseball field in Cuba. Darwin Barney and I don't speak any Spanish, and we had to get there somehow. And we ended up beating the bus there. It was pretty wild. And we ended up beating the bus there. But you want to talk about an adventure, man? That was wild. I think that was the last time I ever missed the bus. I never missed the bus ever again. That was an experience.
I remember you talking about at the restaurant where they were chasing the chickens around.
Just everything. Different
way of life.
Cut their heads off right in front of you.
Right in front of you. That, it was intense. It was a different world. I got a box of Cuban cigars, and I traded like 3 T-shirts, 5 pairs of socks, and something else, and that's what we, just an even trade. I was like, this is okay. Here we go.
There you go.
I'm gonna take some of these home, and then next thing you know, like you were 2 boxes short when you were going through customs, and there was just one left. I mean, okay, I made it through with one. That's
Made it
good.
through, yeah.
But
talk
yeah.
a little bit. Talk about, because I mean, like that game in particular, that you're deep into the 8th inning of that game. Guys don't go 8 innings, and we saw it a couple of times this weekend with Kate Anderson. LSU went a complete game this weekend or last weekend. I can't remember. Talk about how pitching's changed in that regard. It's so all out, and give me 5 innings, you're good. Whether it's in the majors or in college now, it's a little different than your time.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Like when we, so pro ball that was a pretty big adjustment for me as well. But I came up in Texas, and Nolan Ryan was kind of in charge of the pitchers in Texas, and that was wild. So the starters are the best pitchers on the team, hands down. There's no question. And you can still argue that to this day. Like, I mean, there's a reason you're the starter, right? Like, I mean, you're 5 of the best pitchers on the team. I mean, depending on where you are, pros and college, your starters are your best pitchers, and that's it. So you want the ball in your best pitcher's hands as long as you possibly can.
Most innings, yeah.
And that was the the thought process. If I started a game, I was supposed to finish it, and that's what Nolan Ryan taught us. And it was like, I mean, I threw a 137 pitch complete game the first day off the DL in Texas in a day game against Tampa Bay. I mean, it was miserable. I lost 14
day game
pounds.
in Texas is rough too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like and that was something I took pride in it too. It was a different era of baseball. Like even in college, like I loved it. I wanted to finish all the games I started. I mean, that was my goal. I didn't want it to ever be in someone else's hands. Like my big thing was coming out with runners on. Like I hated that. Leaving it up, I mean, I'm sure the guys, like everybody's good, being at a D1 college, being in pro ball, but those are my runners. Like I hated leaving my job up to somebody else. And that was the thing that, I took a lot of pride in when I became a full-time reliever was, never forgetting how important those runs were, and then I had my, becoming the reliever and transitioning into it, became inherited runner, keep inherited runner percentages and stuff. And, something I took a lot of pride in, like, okay, look, I know you don't want to come out of this game, but if there's anyone that can get you out of this jam, it's me. I mean, I believe that. And, early on, Buck threw me into, I mean, if there was a bad situation, I was going into it. And it was like, and it was almost a feast or famine type of deal, because it was a lose-lose situation, like no outs, bases loaded. You got, Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz, and somebody else coming up. And I'm like, oh, what the hell do you think I'm gonna get out of this? Like, what are we doing? Like, like pick somebody else every once in a while, but it turned into a big game and a more of a challenge for me, and that's part of the growing thing. But in today's game, I mean, you gotta go 5 innings. I mean,
give me 5, Give me 5 is good enough.
5, and then we're shipping it to the bullpen, and everybody throws 96, 97, 98, and
those 1 inning.
Yeah, and it's 1 inning and done. And you're seeing that in a lot of places now, and it's not just pro ball. I mean, it's you guys see it where you're at. I mean, high school's doing that, which is kind of mind blowing. But you'll see it everywhere. There'll be, and that's kind of, I don't know, the art form of being a starting pitcher is kind of going away. And it'll come back. It'll come back eventually. I mean, it has to. Everything goes in waves, and it'll eventually come back.
You mentioned Nolan Ryan, 222 complete games out of 773 starts. So 2 out of every 7 games he started, he completed them. That's pretty almost a quarter, about a quarter, almost almost a third that he completed, and threw 5,400 innings in his career. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah,
he was all right. He was all right.
He was good. Yeah, yeah. Hey, what do you think of like some of these new rules? I mean, we the shifts banned in the big leagues. And we'll talk about the shift in college because we got a whole I don't you saw in spring training the robo ump deal that they were doing, where you could appeal the strike, the 3 batter minimum, the limited pickoff throws. What do you think of all that stuff?
The time clock is brutal. I don't like that. I don't like the extra innings guy on second base.
No, I hate that.
I think it's stupid. I really do. I love the challenge. Okay. I love that because there are so many debates, hitters and pitchers, on who would like it, who wouldn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love if there was an automated strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely destroy. I really do. I feel like you get that much more on the corners.
Mm-hmm.
You get that much more on the corners. Every pitch, you get the whole baseball. Ted, you get the whole baseball. Ted,
not half.
See, yeah, not even half. I had a half a ball off. Well, where was the other half? And I'm telling you. And if you get that high and low, I know there's ways around it. Like bounce curveballs could be a strike, right? Like, I mean, It's wild. And then you're getting that much higher at the top of the zone. I don't think hitters want an automated strike zone. I really do.
So it's a pitcher benefit, you think?
I do, but you're going to have hitters that say, "Oh, if I know what is going to be a strike, then I'm going to adjust." You can't see. You guys are they're so full of themselves. I mean, they're so dumb. Hitters are so dumb. They're so dumb. They are. They really are. Like in grand scheme of things, they think that, oh, I'm going to guess what pitch is coming. Well, guess what? I don't know where I'm throwing it. So, like, how are you going to tell me where the pitch is going? I'm aiming down and away, and it's 6 feet up and in, dummy. Like we don't. What do you mean? That's why the Rays. I'll tell you right now. I played with the Rays in 2017.
Yeah, a hell of a year too.
It was great. You know what they told me to do? Throw the ball right down the middle of the plate.
Mm-hmm.
They can't hit it. It's unbelievable. It's crazy, and the chances of you hitting that spot are slim. Like, I mean, it's baseball. Like, you have an idea of where you're throwing. You have pockets, right? And if you break it down into that kind of, you want to be able to throw into a dinner plate, not into a saucer plate, because throwing into a place this big, you're going to miss this big. Throwing in this place, you got a chance of actually hitting it. So if you go to quadrants, so just like in this camera screen, so you go up and in, down and away, you have that much room here, you have that much room here, and if you can get it somewhere close to that, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. And if you throw strikes, you're going to win. Don't walk people. Walks always score.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's so elementary that the way the Rays broke it down that way and had their catchers set up, and the emphasis on, which everybody has an emphasis on, first pitch strikes, and batting average against batting the BABIP, batting average against balls in play on first pitch, where that is, and averages and difference in averages from plus and minuses and counts and stuff like that. I mean, just throw strikes. That's what I try to tell all these kids. And when we talk about it, just throw strikes. I mean, I would rather, I don't know. I would rather give up 5 hits in an inning than walk one batter.
Yeah.
I mean, I really would, because that batter's going to score. It's incredible how many walks score.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't.
But you always had great control.
I was able to throw the ball majority where I wanted to throw it.
I didn't exactly remember the numbers, but until I looked them up. But I mean, you threw 224 innings at Alabama, and you walked 57 batters.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
For that,
we would take one walk every 4 innings out of a lot of our.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it, and I loved the challenge. I mean, that that year there, I mean, that was fun, man. I had a really good freshman year. My freshman year, I felt like was pretty fun,
And you
and
were
9-1,
10
nine
and
and two,
10,
10 and
10 and
2,
10 and 3.
10 and 3. Yeah,
Three
something like that.
330 ERA and second team All
Yeah,
American.
yeah. So it was, yeah, not bad. And I mean, I felt like I had a really good in conference, like SEC and SEC play. I think I was pretty good.
Yeah,
And
very good.
I mean, that's where it all came down to. But Jim Wells did not like me in them bullpens, man. I'll tell you, I couldn't throw a ball straight, and that was the thing. He like throw the ball straight, baby. Well, throw the ball straight. Some bitch goes straight out. What are we talking about? Let's get a little zig and zag, a little yin and yang in this place. Like let's switch it up a little bit. Throw one in the dirt.
Well, and I remember the next year when a lot of guys left, LeBlanc and David and D-Rob and Downs, and we weren't quite as good in 2007. And then Wells decides he wants to make you a closer.
Yeah. Well,
about a few weeks into the season.
Well, that's when we were closing on Friday, closing on Saturday, and starting and throwing a complete game on Sunday.
Right.
Trust me, I remember. It was that was at Auburn, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, at Auburn, and then it happened again at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I think I gave it up at Vanderbilt, and then I had to start again. Yeah, it was a wild. Go look those up.
I do remember being in Oxford, and I don't remember who the hitter was, but he hit the longest home run I've ever seen.
I'm telling you right now, I was on that. The funny thing about home runs, and I will say this, like I was so lucky to be able to give up as many home runs as I gave up. Like, I mean, I'm being serious. Like I gave up 140 some odd home runs in my big league career. And maybe 139, 137, 40, 41, something like that. But some really cool home runs. I gave up Griffey's last ever home run.
Okay. Yeah.
I gave up some incredible home runs. I mean, I don't think any home run that I gave up was not hit. I mean, they were all absolute bombs, like every one of them. I gave up Yuminori Kawasaki's his only home run he's ever hit in his entire career. That's including 8 years in Japan or 10 years in Japan as well. Never hit a home run. I'll never hear the end of that story. But I gave up absolute bombs. But I mean, the kind of the cool part about it is there was a year, I think it was in 17, maybe 18. At one point in the season, I had given up more home runs than every pitcher on the team combined. Seriously.
But they were solos because you didn't want
them. There were a lot of solos, a lot of walk-offs, I gave up some pretty cool home runs. And I had a front row seat to watch them all too. I mean, it was pretty incredible. But yeah, I didn't give up cheap shots. When somebody clicked me, that ball was hit well.
They got their money's worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about you, because you had a lot of injuries over the years. How many surgeries have you had? What's your count on surgeries?
I'm 20 plus in. Yeah. I've had that. That's just going under anesthesia. I've had eight back surgeries. I've had a couple shoulders, 2 elbows. I've had like 6 or 7 core surgeries.
Yeah.
I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 adductor surgeries. It's been
day-to-day basis now that you're late 30s, early maybe 40 by now. But I mean, how do you feel it every day when you feel some of those, or you pretty good recovery for most of that stuff?
Rec league MVP right here. I'm in a men's basketball league. Hey, come on now. I am the late 30s, but no, actually I got hurt in the rec league basketball. I went up for a layup, came down, boom, my knee goes this way. No. No, I mean everybody's going to be, hurting after that many years of going through it. But I'm okay. I'm able to play with the kids. I throw the kids in the front yard. I can play catch. As soon as these kids are old enough to get some BP, I can throw some BP. Now throwing to 8-year-olds, I'm the worst pitcher you will ever see in your entire life. Like
Well,
I
that's because
can't
you
do
got
it.
to put it on the bat,
I
basically.
can't do
No.
it. It's impossible. And the coaches, our coaching staff makes fun of me all the time about it. How like it's bad. Like I hit everybody. I don't want to give up hits. I've given up enough, and I don't care if you're 8. I'm punching tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much impact, like in your career? I mean, obviously, I mean, you have some things that shut you down for seasons at a time. I mean, when you look back, it's like, were there a couple of those that really stunted your career? I mean, you played 16 years. I mean,
The back
back.
was it.
Mhm.
The back was that was
Yeah.
tough. That was
It's,
that was that that was it. I it happened. I was actually in Miami, and like I knew it was bad. It happened in the middle of the night. I got up to go to the restroom in the middle of the night and
Mhm.
dropped and couldn't move. And I was
Mhm.
like, "Uh-oh, something's
Yeah.
not good." So I
Some slip.
had to reach to the phone, calling the trainers. I couldn't even get to the door. They had to go get security to get into the door, type of deal. And I was like, something's not that I'm not good. I need
Mhm.
help, help immediately. Ended up having a double laminectomy, had
Yeah.
quadruple disectomies.
Yikes.
I've had two since then. I've had two fusions.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's just once
Yeah.
that happened, it was like I ended up pitching another year and a half after that.
Mhm.
So I mean, I made it back, and that was the big thing. My wife wanted me to give it another shot.
Yeah. Make it back.
We wanted one more family picture.
Mhm.
That's the whole idea. And then I made it back for that, and then it was nothing was the same after that.
Yeah.
What all the team? What was your favorite team to play for?
Yeah.
Oh man. Um. So like pre-family team, Texas was legit. I
You
mean,
were having good.
it was.
Ken Brown out there, and
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
Ken, man, that was so much fun.
yeah.
I mean, Ken was amazing. I love Ken. Ken's so good. He's such a good dude. We got to hang out for quite a few years after Alabama. And but Baltimore met my wife, family
Mhm.
began, and Baltimore is always going to hold a really, really special spot. And then we had kids from after that, and I mean, I had a lot of fun in New York as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would say Texas, Baltimore, and New York were definitely my
Mhm.
most memorable and favorite times of my career.
But you've got to give a shout out to Philadelphia for that contract.
Philly was nice. Philly nice. Philly paid.
Philly
Philly
paid the
paid.
Yeah,
bills.
Yeah,
that let a lot of other things happen.
Yeah. Philly, appreciate you. Thank you. But yeah,
I
no.
bet that's a tough place to play though,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
fan wise. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
which of
they
those
were tough.
parts? Yeah, so you play for the Rangers, the O's, the Cubs, the Indians, the Rays, the Phillies, and the Mets. Those last three you played for on two different stints. Which was your favorite part to pitch in of those, or any other part?
Seattle.
Really?
Seattle,
Yeah.
hands down.
Uh-huh.
Seattle. I loved throwing in Seattle. Seattle, I mean, I I don't know. I see that's a part. Like I don't know when the baseballs changed. So that is a fact. There is
Mhm.
no way. I
When
there
they
the
fill with the seams and
Yeah,
yeah.
they changed the baseballs. We actually got a letter and telling us that they changed it, and then all the denial after the fact. Like I mean, it's incredible. So I have baseballs from every year I played, like
Mm.
dozens of baseballs in bags out in the garage. And I'm telling you right now, any one of you could walk out there and I could give you a baseball and I could let you just go through the years, pick up the baseballs,
Mm.
and I can tell you what baseball year that baseball was
Uh,
just by holding it. It's incredible. Like they the when I played in Seattle, that ball didn't go anywhere.
No.
Anywhere. And I was like, I could throw,
Just,
I throw it right down the middle of the plate. I had no fear in Seattle. Zero fear in Seattle. Now, send me to Toronto, buddy, I'm running. Running. I hated throwing in Toronto. I got absolutely destroyed every single time I think I threw there.
yeah.
And but here's the crazy thing. If you put me against Toronto in any other stadium, dominated. Dominated. Throwing in Yankee Stadium, loved it. Any of the short porches, I loved them.
Did you?
Because,
okay.
yeah, like any small field, Baltimore. I mean, think about that. Like I loved throwing there because people got so big and they always just, everybody wanted to hit home runs in the short porches and that kind of stuff, and that just played into my game so much more. Just because I would just play a little corners game up and in and two seam cutter, see you. Good luck.
Yeah. How about Baltimore after they moved the fences back? They made that.
Yeah, I never got to do it, so I don't know.
I guess it's probably 23.
Yeah.
They kind of moved it back up a little bit. I think this year they undid a little bit of it.
Well, that's like New York as well, right? When they built that stadium, that was a
cavernous. Yeah.
One of the coolest things that we were able to do is when we came to Baltimore to see and met Ellen for the first time. And but we had field passes and dugout passes and batting practice passes and then all that stuff. That was really special. And then you actually paid for a meal. That was cool.
Hey. I got a lot of making up for that one, I promise.
But
someday.
One of the games, I guess I don't think Sherry came, and I rode home. You took me back to the hotel, and I just going into the players' parking lot, and like all the fans like screaming at all the. I mean, it's like I felt like a movie star. I was just like rolling the windows down. You were blaring music, had the windows down. We were cruising down the street. Everybody was yelling. That was fun.
That is fun. Yeah, that was great times.
That's great stuff. Great stuff. Hey, so let's do this. Let's transition into the week that was Alabama baseball, and we'll talk a little bit about the team and what's going on with them. Get a lot of your insights on as we come upon the situations with the team and what's think of some similarities or some thoughts you might have on it, knowing you probably don't follow every single game, every minute of every game like we do, but we'll get into it. So that's what we usually do. We normally record on Monday night, but the basketball game is on Monday. We decided to I'll watch that, and so we've actually got an extra game to cover this week. We had midweeker with Samford last week that we won 11-9. We had a 10-2 lead, and we were threatening to run rule those guys. And next thing you know, after we had recorded a podcast the night before, talking about how great it was that we don't give up big innings, we let Samford put up a 7 spot in the seventh. Meghan, you caught that one, I'm assuming. But what the hell happened that night? We didn't win it. We won it 11-9. But a little mental lapse or what went on that night?
So I was actually in Baltimore last week for a conference, and I was at dinner and then came back and caught those last couple innings when Samford went up, and it was really truly, it's like, what the hell are we doing? Like, it's kind of just like we forgot how to play baseball for a while.
Yeah. It was alarming there for a moment, but fortunately had a big enough of a cushion, got a couple of runs late to kind of make sure we stayed in stayed out in front there. The good thing, I guess, obviously you win it. The bad thing, you show some vulnerabilities there. I think the bullpen really had kind of a rough night, and but as we keep saying, we keep pulling out these midweek games. Drew, we're 10-0 in midweek games now after the Southern Miss game.
Yeah, and I was trying to remember what happened last week because it's been 5 games ago. But yeah, I remember watching it. I'm glad I didn't go because I would have gotten home at 11:30 on a Tuesday night. But and even though I very much appreciate the ticket offer, but yeah, it's like it's 9-2 or whatever, 10-2, and I think they just kind of lost focus the fourth through seventh innings, and we threw a couple of guys who had not pitched a whole lot. I've got to go back and and see, but Kittrell, I don't think I think he struggled, but he hadn't pitched in a long time. I think Buchanan was pretty good. Lehman was good his first time. I think Ketchum and
it was
Ball. Ketchum and Ball
Cottrell, Ketchum and Ball that we kind of got in trouble with in that inning.
Yeah. They got some run, Faye's inherited runners score, as they kind of tend to do, but finished it off strong, got the win. I mean, Sanford's, they got some, they're not as good because they lose guys to the portal every year, but they've got a really good program, so they're always going to be a tough team to face.
Last night was a much better midweek opponent. I mean, Southern Miss is going to be, I think I said in one of these recap tweets, they're going to be a problem in somebody's regional. They may not get to host it, but they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a 2-seed or a 3-seed and be somebody's problem. We were kind of throwing a lot of our mainline guys last night in that game to make sure we won it because, I mean, you kind of had to. Roger, you were talking about today in practice. I mean, you see a lot of guys that really haven't been getting innings, throwing some live just because our focus is a little different this year, right? With the midweeks, it feels like.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's I mean, I think they're dead set on being undefeated in the midweeks. And it's really a tough midweek schedule Troy twice, Southern, Jack State twice. UAB's even better this year.
Yeah.
Southern Miss been ranked every year for the last 10 years. I mean, there's
beats us occasionally. Yeah.
So Troy and Southern both ranked. That's 2 ranked wins with just from the midweeks right there. But there's so many Tommy, we got 22 pitchers on the staff. 22 pitchers.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And
about 17 position players because we got one guy out for the year.
Right. We had 18 position players, and one of the catchers had shoulder surgery, so we're sitting on 17 and 16 for a while because we had a guy that broke a finger. But so they're 40-man rosters. This is the last year of 40-man. It's probably going to go to 34 next year.
34-ish, yeah.
But still for the SEC, it's still just 27 active for SEC, like it was when you were playing. But so they can, in the past, we've kind of been like rode a guy a long time.
Yeah.
Like even out of the pen. But now it's like, a couple of batters or you walk the guy. It's like you walk 2 in a row. We got somebody else we can try.
Yeah. And our closer's coming on our closer got a 5-out save last night. It's a 10th save. just because it's like, this is that good a team. Tommy, you probably didn't throw in a hell of a lot of midweek games at Alabama. Did you?
Well, I started to my sophomore year. That's the funny part. So I closed them. I would close them all.
Okay.
So my freshman year at none, and then my I play maybe a couple here and there, but my sophomore year at Alabama, I came into quite a few midweek games.
Did you? Okay, cool. Yeah.
I mean, they instead of throwing bullpens, Jimbo would just throw me out there in those midweek games.
Well, that's kind of what we're doing now.
It feels like what we're doing.
Yeah. Some of our high leverage guys.
You have to win them. You gotta win. You're still going for the wins. That's at the end of the day, you got to win. So that's where it all boils down to. Which I'm not against that.
Yeah. So we're 10-0 in these midweek games. The Sanford game was a little different animal. We'll talk about Auburn in a minute, but like last night with Southern Miss, for seemingly the 10th game in a row, we fall behind. We're down 4-0 before we. I think I tweeted before everybody had time to finish their first beer in the stands. Megan, did you have the same level of concern, or I've seen this movie before last night?
Unfortunately, and I was honestly worried it was going to go a little bit more like this weekend did than what we've seen this season where we've been able to come back. I'm glad to be wrong, but you go down 4-0, fourth inning before we even get anything going. It's just kind of like, all right, it wasn't our weekend. It may not be our Tuesday night. And luckily,
and we had turned 2 double plays at that point too. And it was like, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah,
last night, right, Roger? It could have really spiraled.
But and as you were mentioning the shift, we were the casualty of the shift a couple of times for a few of those runs. I mean, it literally cost us at least 2 of the runs.
It's 2 of those runs. All right, let's. All right, we've been teasing the shift. Let's talk about the shift. All right, so last night, I guess in the Auburn game the other night, it was a function. I think it was the Riley Quick game when Riley, Tommy, if you've seen, I mean, big tall kid. He's gonna be first rounder, second rounder. He's got that kind of stuff. He hits 98, 99, 100 on the gun, and throws a heavy downhill fastball. I mean, it's heavy and kind of has a wipeout slider. He's been dealing with a blood blister on his middle finger. He missed a start. He threw 2 innings against Tennessee because he couldn't snap a breaking ball. Missed a start and then came back the other day. He wasn't his best against Auburn on Saturday, but he peeled a few of them off, and it looked pretty good. I think the issue I saw is we're fully shifted on a righty. We got we got 3 guys on the left side here. And Riley's throwing a 98 mile an hour, 96, 97, 98 mile an hour fastball on the outer half of the plate to this guy who's not like a power guy. Drew, you've been chomping at the bit to talk about this.
There's a couple things I want to say about the shift, and I think before I get into the pitchers, it seems to me that the shift works. It would work better if you're not moving your entire infield around. Keep your shortstop where he is. Take your third baseman and move him over to short or like over on the other side.
Yeah.
And they're still mostly your shortstop because there's a ball Torres couldn't get in the
he dropped a pop last night. Yeah.
Last night. Yeah. And then there was the ground ball that I think that was the Saturday first game where he kind of got to it, but maybe LeBron is able to make the play. So that's my first frustration. Well, that's my second. My first frustration is the fact that there is a shift. And then the third one, and Tommy, you can answer this better. All right, so you're pitching to a lefty, and the shift is like basically almost all to that side.
Yeah.
So the strike zone you're aiming for is smaller. The zone you want to pitch in is smaller. Is that right? Because you've got to snap that breaking ball inside. You pitch it over, you miss, and it goes on the outer half. It's going to get poked into left field. So you being a pitcher, if you can maybe address that I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
So that's where the misconception comes in.
Okay.
That's the problem. That's where my problem with the shift happens. So when you shift somebody, you are not supposed to change the way you pitch. That goes down to analytics. So the analytics have to be on point with matching up who is doing what they're doing. I couldn't tell you how many times that I threw exactly what I wanted and we were shifted over and there was supposed to be somebody there and you turn around and no one's there, and it is the most frustrating thing in the world. But on the other flip side of it, how about you give up an absolute just missile right up the middle and it's right out of somebody that's not supposed to be there, and you're like, it's a coin flip, right?
Well, you do it.
But the thing about it is, like, when they shift, you have a game plan beforehand, right? So and I think that's where maybe certain guys you can shift and certain guys you can't, and that's what I don't know how, like, the analytics that are in college baseball. I don't know if they're as sophisticated as they are at the big leagues, right? Like I can't,
probably not, but
but I mean, I don't think there's enough data.
It's a smaller sample size.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
50 games, and it's like in the big leagues, you see these guys for 7 years. You got 7 years worth of data.
So there's a lot of data on that. So I mean, I think that plays a little bit of a part on it, which I don't want to speak on their behalf on like what they're doing, how they're going about it. I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to win the ball game, right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, nobody's going out there purposely, putting guys in a situation to not succeed. Like, you're putting guys in the best situation to succeed. But I mean, to the shift's defense, does it work? Yeah, sometimes, but make better pitches. Yeah. And then you don't have to shift, right? Like, I mean, it all boils down to just hitting spots, making good pitches, and as you can see in the shift in baseball this year, right? Like they can't in the big leagues, you can't move past second base, and they play right on those lines, and things are hits are hits, and shift hits are not happening anymore. But there's also a lot of guys that won't give in to the fact that people are shifting, and they're just going to hit into the shift time and time and time again. Chris Davis was like that. There's multiple big league guys that I can think of right off the bat that, we're not changing anything they were doing. Their approach was the same because they get paid for hitting doubles and home runs.
Homers.
So that's what you get paid for. College, I think it would be a little harder to
exactly,
in my opinion. Now to say that it's completely obsolete, no, but harder to shift 100% because these guys are, there's more of a rah-rah situation in college baseball than there is in the big leagues. Like, I'll be honest, like if I'm getting paid to hit doubles and home runs, I don't care if you're shifting or not. I'm trying to hit a double and I'm trying to hit a home run. We got paid for getting these people out, getting ground balls, strikeouts, right? High strikeouts, pitchers, you get paid for punch outs, and you get paid for not walking people, and you get paid for inherited runners, not scoring. You get paid for, innings pitched, not being on the DL. There's all kinds of things, but, in college, I think, you play to try to score as many runs as you can. There's more bunting, there's more hit and runs, there's more, tic tac, baseball tactics, right?
Getting hit, drawing walks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, ground balls are more, prevalent in college baseball than they are in the higher you go up. But I hated the shift. I hated it because I would rather know the ground ball back up the middle, right? Like if I was supposed to field it, then and if I missed it, that's on me. There shouldn't be a guy right there. But I mean, you're not supposed to change how you pitch based off of defensive alignments.
Right.
And because that guy is supposed to take the same approach, right? But I'll tell you, if I'm a hitter and I see the entire left side of the field open and the guy's throwing me away, I'm taking my base hit.
I'm pushing. Yeah, sure.
I'm taking my base hit. And then guys started doing that, right? And at the upper levels, they started just taking what was given to them. And then you had to change things up because now you got first and second with nobody out after your shifts, and now you're scrambling. Now you're double barreled in the bullpen. You're late in the game. It's usually a tough situation, but I don't know. I agree with you guys on the shifts. I don't like the shifts, but you're not supposed to change how you pitch based off of a shift, which is a big misconception.
It feels to me like
pitch into the shift. Put it that way, because it's not. That might not be my my strengths. You stick to your strengths. You stick to the things that make you who you are. If that's throwing the ball inside, no matter if there's a shift or not, I'm not gonna, if I only throw the ball away, I'm not gonna throw the ball inside just to have him hitting the shift, because now you're going away from a strength, maybe going into the position player's strength, and now you're taking a weakness into a strength. Wakaka, he's rounding the bases, and you just gave up a 4 spot, right? I don't know. There's many ways to go about it. I hate the shift. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Throw better pitches. Let your defenders play. I mean, there was a point at one time in my career. I was older. I actually know exactly when it was. we were in Tampa, and I had just torn my calf, and I was like, look, I'm done covering first base. Every single person in the infield makes more money than me. Cover your own damn bases. That was my thought. And I was like, from that point on, it's like, look, if you make more money than me, I'm not covering your base for you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. This is stupid. Cover your own base. And in that situation, nobody would be at third base. You know? Well, guess what? The catcher's making more money than me too. Get your ass down there and cover third base.
In college, though, it seems to me like more of these guys, in a midweek game in particular, they're throwing 87, 89, 90, 90. I mean, a hitter can do more with that. I mean, if you leave a whole side of the infield open and I got a guy throwing 87, 89, 90, even 91, 92, maybe 90, 91, I could probably do a lot more with that and probably like you say, it's a little more rah-rah. I don't have quite the ego about I've still gotta bang one off the wall. It seems like that's what's happening to us a good bit is that we're doing it in situations where we're not we're like you say, we're changing the way we're pitching and we got guys throwing that you can do more with anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's the thing. I mean, it's just it's such a 50-50 coin flip most of the time. So, like what the percentages are that like beneficial between how it's going to benefit the team and not benefit the team, right? Like I don't know what the numbers come out to be.
What the
Like
spread,
what is it? And if it's, what at some points 52-48, like I mean, like I don't know. I just make better pitches, strike everyone out, don't walk anyone, and you win every game.
Yep. Drew,
Like
any other thoughts on
it's
it?
very simple. So don't let anybody on base, and you don't have to shift
Yeah.
it. Like don't just punch tickets.
Sure.
That explains it as well as I wanted to hear it. So yeah, because I was curious. I thought maybe the coaches would call pitches inside,
change what they do. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know.
You can. I mean, but damage would sometimes
College pitcher might
pertain.
not hit. College pitcher might not hit that spot.
Yeah, I don't think.
Frequently,
Yeah, you're.
He may be trying to hit inside, and he's misses his spot.
This is it. Half plate. Yeah.
But
I'm telling you right now, there more times than not, my up and in strikeouts were actually supposed to be a fastball down and away. I'm going to tell you that right now. So it doesn't matter if you're in college and high school or the big leagues and you've been pitching for 20 years. It doesn't matter. You're going to miss spots. Like you're not, nobody is that good. Like, I mean, there are some like Jacob deGrom is that good. Like, Max Scherzer's that good, Verlander, like all these guys, like, these guys are that good. Don't get me wrong. No. But I mean, they miss too. You see them slamming stuff and holding heads and people walking around, run around bases when they pitch too. So it's like that's I don't know. You don't change how you pitch, and I still hate the shift.
That's good.
I'm with you guys on the shift.
Awesome. Games. No, that's great. Yeah. Back to our Southern Miss game. So we're in this 4-0 hole, and again with some of this. We had seen a couple of shift-related plays that got guys on. Garrett Staten steps up, just smokes the ball. I mean, he hit that ball into the mounds in the left field bullpen over there to cut it to 4-2, and then we just go on a heater in what inning was that last time? Was it the sixth that we?
It was the sixth last night.
It was the sixth. Yeah. Brady Neal, kind of Brady Neal legacy game. I called it. It felt like up until that point. We were just walking, get a guy hit, walk, get a guy hit. I mean, we just nobody could come through, and it felt like we're about to leave the bases loaded. And Brady comes up big for us last night, Roger.
Yes, he dropped that oppo double down the left field line that just out of the left fielder was pretty close to
pretty good run at it. Yeah.
It was two. I mean, we did all this for 2 hours. I mean, 6 runs on 3 hits because there was 3 walks and 2 hit batters.
Couple hit batters, yeah.
So Brady gets that double, then Richie follows with that absolute time.
Richie with the best pimp job of a home run we've had probably. Well, the LeBron one with Ohio State, maybe. Yeah. But they really a great little bat flip and a spin around, and he smoked that ball. Pretty well. Peyton Steele last night, Drew. Your thoughts on that insertion in the lineup?
Yeah. Let me also about Richie Bonamolo. Yeah, I'm so happy that he's hitting leadoff. I just think he's one of the best players on the team, and I think you don't put a guy like that in the 9 spot. I know they had high hopes for Fowler, and he's kind of found his groove lately too. But man, Bonamolo at the top and LeBron at 2 is just, I think, incredible for us. But yeah, love to see Steele get a shot. I think we have talented freshmen, just haven't been able to get him a shot for whatever reason this year. Of course, we see practice, and we don't. Roger sees practice. You and I and Megan don't, but so we don't really know who's really that good. I may think that some guy's good, and he may be transferring next year. So, John Young got a start earlier this year, but yeah, I love to see Steele get in, and he's hit well and limited at bats, and then he gets the home run last night. So that's another guy that the coaches trust. So you consider him for an SEC game. You have another option. If you're starting him, that means you have another pinch hit option on the bench, like Mizell, Staten, Norton, whatever they decide to do. So just glad that it seems like we have confidence in another young guy to get in, and it adds depth. So really happy to see that.
Real impressed with his glove last night too, Roger.
Yes. Yeah. He impressed me in the fall and in the spring. I mean, I remember saying that I thought he was really going to be a player eventually, but just with the veterans and who we have out there, there's just not a lot available. And we really did miss out early in the year with some of those teams not getting these guys a little more run, just a bat here or there every other game or have go in.
But when you're beating Samford by 10-2 and you can't close them out, that's
right.
Like you're talking,
right. I mean, and that might be the fear. It's like, okay, we're up 11-1, but we got to get these W's. But I mean, it just shows that he's working hard and he's ready for the moment when it comes.
Yeah, so, big moment with that home run. It was a Carlton Fisk job. It was one of those you're like doing trying to make sure it stayed fair because right down the line there. And like you said, Richie, the team felt last night like a little more like we were or have been, except for this weekend where you're drawing a lot of walks, you're getting hit, you're getting guys on base, Megan. It was a little more like the team we've, expected to see all year.
Yeah. I mean, took a little while to get going, but once we did, it was very much like the pieces were starting to get put together.
Yeah.
I think the really only part that I was like, as far as that goes, I kind of disappoint's not the right word. Surprised me was the fact that we had two at least like caught stealing last night of just like I mean Southern Miss is very good.
Yeah, Richie got picked and
Richie got picked and LeBron basically got picked. I mean, because he turned around and went by.
He got a rundown.
Pickled.
But yeah, we should. But and Southern Miss ended up throwing their Saturday starter and their closer. And of course, we threw our closer too. I mean, that's not
sure.
But I mean, they were going to win. I mean,
it was a high level.
That'd be a good marquee win. I mean, they've beaten State and Ole Miss this year.
Ole Miss, I think. Yeah, who's ranked 6th in the country right
now?
Yeah, Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So they're winning the Camellia Cup in Mississippi this year. It looks like. And I mean that's a damn good. It's a good program. I mean they just lost 2 out of 3 on the weekend up at Marshall, but they were playing. Tommy, you'll appreciate this. I turned on their game Saturday up at Marshall, and you can imagine what the weather was like. It was like 45 degrees. It's raining, and so they were just not in their element. They lost 2 out of 3 to Marshall. Some close games, but so you gotta figure that weekend took a lot out of them because that's a tough place to get to and get back to Hattiesburg and then have to bus up to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So rough week for them. So that's a good one. I mean, we've been pointing to that game as like our biggest midweek game, probably our best midweek game. Troy still looms. We've played them once, but we got to go down there. But 10-0 with I think 3 midweek games left, maybe 3 left. Yeah, Samford, UAB, and Troy. So that's a good feather in this team's cap. All right, let's talk about Auburn. Friday night, it just
not much
Tommy,
to say.
Tommy, we just get smoked at Auburn.
I see it. I'm looking.
It was awful.
I never lost to Auburn. I can't stand. I tell you, man, I can't stand it. It's fine. It sucks, but yeah, no, it's part of baseball. I mean, sometimes baseball just doesn't go the way you want.
Yeah.
But
I mean, our left-handed starter, Friday night starter, who's mocked first or second round, he faced 11 batters and gave up 8 hits in 6 runs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
and
wasn't
not
it.
just not hits, piss missiles. I
Yeah.
mean, the D1 baseball guy told Drew and then me later because he was there. I saw him. He's the
Velo was down.
slowest exit velo off the hits was 108. 108
Yeah.
off
He thought he
was
might
the
have been tipping
slowest.
pitches.
He got
maybe
flat.
tipping.
Yeah.
Oh, he
tipping.
got ripped.
Velo was down. What I noticed is he just everything was belt high. It was just not. He couldn't locate real well for whatever reason that night, and he got knocked around pretty good at Auburn last year in that series. You know, we in the second game, I think, if I remember right, he didn't last too long there. So that's not been a great spot for him. Concerned about that? I mean, we've seen him have a couple of rocky outings, but I mean, he's going to
typically
back at home this weekend.
I mean, he's bounced back after a bad first inning and gone, given us 5 or 6.
Right. Right. That's what I thought was going to happen. He'd survive it.
Me too.
Yeah. But that big right-hander on the mound Friday night for Auburn, he remind you of anybody, Roger, a little bit with the way he threw that night? Another that might be on our panel. We see a little Tommy Hunter in him other night.
Kind of little Tommy Hunter in it, but he didn't have Tommy. He didn't have Tommy's velocity, but
no,
he was only like 5'11" too. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was hefty, but he wasn't
sturdy guy. But
he wasn't sturdy, pleasantly plump, had a strong lower half.
Yeah. Samuel Dutton, Alabama native. He's from up in the Gadsden, Rainbow City area. Pitched at Westbrook Christian in high school. Transferred from LSU. Now it's their Friday night guy. I think early in the year he was kind of going on Saturdays, but man, he threw a hell of a game. 7-inning shutout.
And he's the cousin of our Saturday starter
Of Riley.
Riley Quick's cousin.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, he did. He threw it really well. But I mean, I'm talking about like for Zane. I mean, it's not going to impact him going forward. I mean, you have these games, and it's the worst part about starting though is he's got to wait a week before he throws again. And that's the worst part about it at all. But I mean, it's going to eat at him all week. He's going to like have talks with himself throughout the week. And I mean, you just go back into it. You go through your midweek routine. You go through your bullpen sessions. And you just lock back in, and more times than not, he's going to come back out and probably light it up, and it's going to be a thing of the past. It's a bump in the road. Like everybody goes through it. There's times where you go on these runs in baseball, and then there's a cataclysmic crash, and it happens. I mean, it's not getting too high, not getting too low. It's staying even keeled as long as you can, and taking the bumps with all the the good stuff that goes along with it. So whenever these kind of things happen, those are usually the people that you bet on for the next
he's
foreseeable
pretty
future.
Even keel. He's an even keel.
Gonna be fine.
Very, very even keel kid. He's
Completely
doesn't get too
fine.
high, doesn't get too low. He's just really doesn't show any emotion at all.
That kind of stuff just happens in baseball. Sometimes, I mean, you have there's no answers for it, but I had a coach actually talk to me about, there was a point to where extra base hits were on specific pitches. I would average, like, just a personal story, average like 5-6 extra base hits on cutters alone in a season. And the first week of the season, I'd given up 3 home runs on cutters. I hadn't given up 3 home runs on cutters in 6 years. And the thing that he came in, he threw me a cold Pepsi Cola after the game. And we sat there and we cracked it open, and we were talking about it. He started giggling and laughing. He goes, "Well, guess what? You got rid of half of your extra base hits in the first game. That was amazing, the first series." And I was like, we were sitting there, and he's like, "Well, you only average 5-6 extra base hits on it." He goes, "You might as well throw it 600 times, for the rest of the year." And I was, I kind of caught on, and it's part of that thing of learning, like, like it evens out. It will even out. And once I started taking that approach, and then my confidence with that in particular pitch just grew exponentially, with the fact of I'm only going to give up 3 more extra base hits in the next 5 months, buddy. We are throwing it every pitch. So, that's it's baseball. It sucks. There's highs and lows. It's just just get off, get on with the next one, and move on.
Probably the benefit of losing that game 10-0 is we didn't have to go 2 more innings and waste our bullpen. Going into this weekend, we had talked about it on this podcast last week with Mark Etheridge. You really felt like, hey, our starters had just come off a week where they'd all given you 5 and 6 innings, and it was felt like a really good with our bullpen and the depth out of our bullpen. You felt like going into this weekend, you were going to maybe get something similar. Our 3 starters, our 3 games go an aggregate total of 5 1/3 innings. So, and these games ended up with the rain, with the rain coming Sunday, we ended up playing a doubleheader Saturday. So they were compressed into about a 28-hour period. So if you used a guy Friday night, he probably wasn't coming back Saturday. So, really put us in a hole just based on the, all the bullpen we had. Although, I mean, we had guys we could still go to. The second game, really probably one of the better games of the year, just the back and forth there.
Very good.
And, we'd get a lead, they tie it. We get a lead, they tie it. They got a lead, we tie it. And then we, finally jump ahead. We get 2 in the 8th, or was that the top of the ninth, I guess.
Top of the ninth.
Yeah, top of the ninth. Really all weekend, the only consistency on offense, and even though LeBron went 0 for 5 in the third game, was Richie and LeBron at the top of the order. And that's what won that game for us. Richie bangs one off the wall, and then LeBron hits one over their green monster to give us the 6-5 lead, and then I guess Oz came on and closed it down. The middle of the order, I think I was 3 to 6 holes in the order, went 6 for 41 on the weekend. So really, really tough to win games when your starters go 5 1/3 and you go 4 of your run production, part of your order, goes 6 for 41. Meghan, pretty fortunate to get out of there with 1 win, the way that played out.
Quite definitely, especially truly bottom, top of the ninth, we go ahead, and then it's just hold on and hope they don't answer. Not the outcome I think any of us wanted, but I think the fact that we were able to scrape by with 1 and not get swept is something. But definitely disappointing that we felt very dead this weekend. On all sides.
Right. Yeah. And we got momentum back in that second game. It just didn't carry over to the third game. I think a lot
not
of
at all. Not at all.
The way that our starter got 1 guy out, and we're right back to the pen, and we're in a hole. And even when we dug back a little in the nightcap, it never felt like we had a great sense of urgency. We had some bad at bats. Drew, Roger, y'all's thoughts on the kind of down the stretch, the way the bats faded, or just never.
I mean, 9th inning needing 2 runs to stay alive, and we hit 3
pop-ups. Yeah, I mean, it's like
and the 8th inning was pop up, strikeout, and then fly ball, pop up. I mean, straight up and down.
Right. Guys pressing a little bit, Drew, and that's it. I mean, but this team has always had that mentality of let the next guy do it. Let me get on base and
I wonder. They were calling this umpire for both teams. He was calling a low strike, and
he was really bad.
It was not. It's like, so you're batting and you see it and you get called out on that strike 3. There was one at bat in particular where we got screwed on a 3-1 pitch. And then Staten's, I think it was Staten. I think he struck out. I could be. I hope I'm not misread. But that was later in the game when it was still a little bit closer. And then, so you kind of had guys swinging at bad pitches, I thought. And so I think that just kind of, it was like not as bad as the zone from Alex Ransom in the second Oklahoma game, but just, I mean, our pitchers, I think, obviously Alcott really struggled. And then Myers was, kept in. Of course, his second inning was not very good. He gave up 2 runs there, but the whole weekend we just kept giving up leadoff base runners, and it seemed like all of them came around to score. So that was a tough game, the night game. But I don't know. I think they just made the extra plays, and we just didn't. So kind of how it was.
Yeah, they had the leadoff man on. What was it? 20.
Seemed like every inning, the whole weekend. So.
They batted in 22 innings, and I think 18 of them they had to lead off.
Yeah, and they were walks,
yeah.
mostly walks or
Right.
hit
Yeah.
batsmen.
Yeah.
And there's
So
your
that's a
walk, Tommy
sneaky,
scores.
Yeah,
that's a sneaky good pitching team, but it's a solid bat. I mean, that's a
Auburn.
solid hitting lineup, and they always
Well,
are. Auburn
I
usually is.
texted with Mark Etheridge, and I said, I wonder, is Auburn a little bit better than Alabama? And he said what he thought was Alabama's got the better top end talent, like
Mhm.
LeBron, Snell, Bonamola.
Sure.
Auburn's probably better at spots 5 through 20 on the roster.
Uh,
So
that
I
probably
think
makes
that makes
sense.
sense. They had some depth. I mean, the guy that hit the home run off Finateri was the guy who came in for the guy who
Mhm.
was who
Yeah,
was hit
he been hurt or
in the
something.
face.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah, so
dude he was a unit. I mean, he was
yeah,
Savage.
big.
yeah. They
And he
have a
made a
good
hell of a
club.
play. He had made a hell of a
Yeah,
play to rob LeBron of
yeah.
a
Yeah,
double
So
down the line too.
I
yeah,
mean, they're not an elite. They're like Alabama. I feel like if this game was played at home, we
yeah.
win the series. But every Patrick Murphy gives the basketball team the Medina talk. Well, every
Mhm.
Tommy Hunter's going to have to give them. This is why I came to Alabama talk,
Yeah, that's
because there's a
right.
lot of players on our team who are from far away,
Uh-huh.
and they
Oh,
need to hate Auburn like Tommy
Don't
Hunter hates
understand that
Auburn.
rivalry. Yeah, yeah, I
well, Tommy,
agree.
we played down there 2 years in a row because
Mhm.
of the Texas and Oklahoma joining. It screwed up the schedule. So
Mhm.
Tennessee came to Tuscaloosa last year and this year, and we had to go to Auburn last year and this year.
And this year, yeah,
So that kind of sucks that we had to do that.
Yeah.
But they
Mhm.
because it's just like it's voodoo down there. I don't know. There's something and football, and I mean, but we
Left
never
center
got
Allegedly.
field
anybody
is a
on.
weird deal because second it, it's just the green monster, and then it kind of like
Oh, that
dents
It's
exactly.
around.
weird.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
weird
you
dimensions.
remember
Yeah,
that ball they hit the first inning Friday, and Snell couldn't quite get to it, but it looked like he stopped short because he didn't exactly know where he was.
where
Well,
the wall
if
was.
that play gets made, if Bryce Fowler's our left fielder in that situation, he probably makes the play because
Mhm. It's
he's a
fast. Yeah.
plus outfielder. But it's a tough play for anybody to make. So, but if that gets caught,
Well,
that's a totally different ball game. So
Richie and Cade seemed a little gun shy of each other.
yeah,
These two collided last week in the outfield, Tommy, and one of them got a concussion, and the other one also spiked his
Yeah,
hand, and he ended up with
yeah.
3 stitches in his throwing hand.
It was rough.
At the
Two big
so
dudes too.
they
Yeah,
were both down. They were both down for
yeah.
several minutes.
Oklahoma guy had an
So
inside the park home run. It's
yeah.
like,
so they have 2 times it looked like in Auburn in one game that they kind of shied away from each.
yeah,
Although the center fielder is by far I mean, he's a plus
yeah.
defender as well.
He's
The
got goes.
left fielder's good, but he's center fielder's fast and
Mhm.
can cover all this ground. So I mean, it should have been no question.
Yeah.
Like Richie go get it, but they looked like they were leery that they were in each other's vicinity.
You always will be after some, big crashes like that. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it was rough. It was pretty rough. All right, so we go to 7-5 on the season. Again, I mean, we talked about last week. It was like, would you take 6-3 through 9 games? Yeah, we just taking it. 7-5. Yeah, now we're starting to get, the fortunate thing is you look ahead in the schedule. Mississippi State comes to town. They were reeling. Schedule worked in their favor this past weekend. South Carolina came to town and they took 2 or 3. So they're sitting 3-9 in the league, Tommy, which is not what you usually expect out of Mississippi State. And so this weekend will mark the midway point of the season. So you've still got 3 with Mississippi State. You got 3 with Florida, who's just an enigma, with them being 1-11, and you've got 3 with Missouri, who is 0-12. So the schedule sets up nicely. Also, given that you've also got LSU, Vandy, and
Both on the road.
in Georgia,
Georgia.
coming to town. So, a lot of tough ahead, but but you've had some tough. I mean, you had to go to Auburn, you got to Tennessee, come to town. You've kind of survived all that. I guess the burning question out of the weekend, probably not a question. Hopefully Riley's, another week with that finger recovering, and Riley gets back to being Riley on Saturday. What do we do about Sunday? Do we make a change there? Do you go a whole staff game? Do you keep it TBA and just see who's available?
See what it looks like, and then JT and and Finn and Bobby, maybe not. I mean, that is an option anyway. Blackwood's been good, I think.
Yeah.
And they've needed him in some in out of the bullpen in some of these games, but we can't not get out of the first inning.
No, we can't. I mean, we're not that kind of team. We don't need to be playing from high. Bobby's been good, then bad, then good, then bad. I mean, four SEC starts. That's it. I mean, but the goods were real good and the bads were real bad, right? Megan, what would your call be?
I feel like, we talked about this, 3-4 weeks ago, and we all were kind of like, all right, a change needs to happen. And I think I'm back in that camp of saying I think a change needs to happen. Like to Roger's point, like JT's been really good. Vinatieri's been really good. I figure since, he threw Tuesday, that's probably not not out of the realm of possibility, but probably not. But like I think, do you consider where else we could put Bobby? Still have him come. Can we have him come in at a different point instead of being that starter? Because with this being the midway point, I think if we try to ride that too long, if that's what we've been doing, then we run the risk of like, okay, yeah, Florida's really bad now. Well, that's the last weekend. There's a strong likelihood that's going to change. LSU is LSU. Like, I don't want it to be that we stick to it too long and then it gets too late where, we went from being top 12 team to looking outside
bottom third. Yeah, sure. Drew, your thought?
My thoughts are, I think the Oklahoma game, you started off slow, but middle innings he was really good. So there is game in him. He can pitch and compete. I wonder if the best thing, we got 3 midweek games and against good teams that want to beat us at Troy.
Throw them at Troy,
UAB at home, at Sanford. Throw them those Tuesdays, and then kind of, then you've got him kind of back in the mix when the midweeks are over. So, and also he's a guy who can pitch you into the 5th, 6th inning, you would think in these games. So I wonder, hopefully I'm eating my words and he's pitching 7 scoreless on
he might
Sunday,
do it.
like he did against Texas A&M, and he's the SEC pitcher of the week. But I think there's a role for him. I do kind of feel like Blackwood didn't throw yesterday, so if I had to guess, I would guess JT's going to be in line to start Sunday, but it could be TBA. I mean, one guy I wonder about as a starter, and he hasn't been mentioned as a starter, is Austin Morris, because he's been really good out of the pen. So he looks
feels like
a
he
guy
can extend.
He can extend. So I wonder. So I think got options. Got to have other guys pitching better, and then got to have Bobby. I don't know where his head's at. It's embarrassing. Well, Tommy, I don't know what's your mindset if you don't make it out of the first inning, and you only throw 15 or so pitches. I mean, I don't remember that happening to you at Alabama. But I don't know. I don't know about in the pros.
No, it's happened. It's happened. Trust me. I mean, but I don't know. It sounds just more of like the swingman state, and I've played that situation as well. Where you've gone back and forth from long relief, like you start a midweek game or something like that, and then you're available for 2, possibly 3 games, depending on however it works. I'm
with days off,
pretty far out of the loop with this, but like it sounds like a swingman state with a few guys, and what we would do is you would just ride what you have, and these ideas, everybody has ideas with this kind of stuff, but being a swingman is a really, really hard
lonely
position to be in. It's not lovely at all. There's nothing glamorous about it.
Lonely,
but some guys are able to do it, and you're able to find little fires within the player, right? Like, I mean, they could be pissed off at the world for thinking they're in a bad situation, and then go out and throw like it, and then you're like, oh, who's this? Where'd this come from? And then there's situations where he can, like you said, go out and make you eat your words and throw 7 innings and do all that kind of stuff. But it's different with each pitcher and player. And let me get that going back. But it's different with each pitcher and player. I mean, it's situational, and I'm sure the staff has it pretty well worked out how they're going to do something. I mean, they're pretty smart guys. I mean, they they have a plan. They stick with it, and then make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah, Sunday starter tale as old as time itself, probably, right? Just college
No, I
teams
was a
deal with this
Sunday
every year.
starter my
Yeah,
sophomore year.
yeah,
So you want to talk
yeah,
about I did it. I was there.
yeah,
I could arguably say I was a pretty damn good Sunday starter.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think you are. Yeah.
Mhm. Most teams just don't have the luxury of having a third guy on Sunday that's that they can just depend on all year long, and then everybody
Right.
goes through it a little bit, right? Right.
Right.
So State comes to town again. They're 3-9 in the league. You can see a lefty named Pico Khan, who we saw a little bit last year, but he'll probably throw Friday. I think they moved. He was starting on Saturdays. Lefty, probably top 5 or 10 pitcher in the league. I mean, really impressive looking dude. He's really looks like he's made a leap this year. Fairly good hitting lineup. I don't know why they're kind of stammering at 3-9. I know Texas came into town and knocked them around pretty good, but they were reasonably close games. I kind of feel like they've lost some close ones. We went down there last year. It was the weekend everybody had a virus, and stomach virus from food poisoning. It was just a dreadful weekend, but we did eke out a win out on Sunday there, and managed to get away without getting swept. Predictions. This is where we always do this, and then we'll get into questions. Meghan, you're usually the most optimistic. We're coming back home off a weekend where we staggered a little bit, and then we took down a pretty good midweek opponent. What's your thought this weekend?
I'll go with the sweep. Quite honestly, I think they're going to come out ready to play, especially being back home, especially, losing to Auburn is never acceptable.
No,
So I think they're going to come out ready to beat Mississippi State, especially after we didn't get the chance to show how good we could have been last year as
last year,
well.
yeah,
As long
extenuating.
as we avoid, lunch meat, I think we should be okay.
That's right. Yeah. The Tuesday night was certainly encouraging leading into the weekend. Roger, what's your thought?
Let's sweep them.
Let's do it. All right,
Let's do
Drew.
it.
Drew, you got your good.
Mississippi State has really had our number in baseball the last several
Tuscaloosa
years,
in particular. Yeah.
and this is even with some of their not so good teams. Boy, I'm gonna be the homer and say 2 out of 3 Alabama.
2 or 3. Yeah, I'm going to lean that way too, just because again with the pitching weekend we had last weekend. Yeah, maybe we rebound and we look like we did against A&M when we beat their 3 guys, a couple of Lampkin, Prager, and whatnot. I don't know which one we might slip up in, but I don't have the confidence that we're going to put together 3 good pitching performances. Tommy, you got any thoughts on it?
Hey, win game 1, win Friday.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. I mean, you got to win Friday night. There's no other way about it. And then you never want to go into a series wanting to win 2 out of 3. You're going into it trying to win 3 games, but the most important game is Friday night. I mean, there's no other. You take care of business every day, and at the end of the year, the cards fall where they are. I mean, you show up every day with a winning attitude and a way to win, but it all starts Friday, and you have to win Friday. And you win Friday, you go to Saturday, you win Saturday. I mean, it's just that's the mentality. And, predictions are this, but if they don't sweep them, they don't get food next week.
That's right.
Don't feed them.
There you go. They're making money now, Tommy. So.
Yeah. Let's go. Hey, I'll come back. I got 2 years of eligibility left, right? Somewhere.
Speaking of
Football?
money. Speaking of money, you were a first round draft pick, 2007. Supplemental, last first round pick we had. We mentioned that. You got $585,000 bonus
For signing. Yeah.
Do you know what that would be now? The slot value in the first round?
I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea. Probably more than what I got.
Well, over $2 million. I mean,
I mean, you'd be eating a little better, but no, I mean, these guys are getting paid here too. I mean, it's wild. It's amazing. It's good. I think it's great. I think it's it's definitely changed. You hear about the portals, you hear about all this kind of stuff, and it's definitely changed a lot of I don't know. I think maybe Drew was talking about it earlier about, how, Southern Miss and people are losing everything to the transfer portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, yeah. And you find these guys, and I mean, I know the game's changed, but you got to change with the games too. I mean, like everybody's dealing it's an even playing field kind of now, and everybody's dealing with the same stuff, and it's just interesting how it, from kind of the outside looking in on how you're handling this, how you're how it changes recruiting. Like, are you just going after portals? Are you how's the recruiting in high school now? Like, it's changed everything since when I was there. High school, it was
So
we all went, like it is what it is. Like, we didn't have a choice. And then luckily, you would run into a guy like Roger Myers as a freshman and takes care of you like a newborn baby, and all taken care. Well, in a nice way, like, I mean, not take care. Yeah, well, definitely take care of. I mean, I needed to be shown how to do some things. I was young, I was naive and kind of dumb at the same time, and
anything about sushi.
had no idea. I got introduced to a lot of things in Alabama, and I'm grateful for all of it. And but it's the game's changed, and you just got to move and adapt to it, and that's all it is. And I hope these guys quadruple all the money I made. Like, I mean, I'm rooting for them. There. Make all the money.
Well, 10-3 freshman year with a 3.30 ERA, 3.30 ERA. I mean, what was if the circumstances were the same then as they are now? What would be the chances you'd have played for Alabama in 2000?
Yeah, the next year,
the next season.
See, I don't.
You would have had people all over the country asking for you.
We might have made a little bit more money. Yeah, we might have made a little more money. It might have been
made a lot more. Yep.
So I mean, but it was. I like I said, everything happens for a reason. Like I was grateful for my time at the Capstone, man. That was life lessons. It was fun. And I'm glad I was there during the time I was, and I didn't have to go through all this.
Crap, it was fun. Those were fun times.
That was fun. That was a good time.
It really was.
All right, hey, I'm going to rapid fire about a half dozen questions, and we're running long tonight, but it's been great. All right, so here from our listeners, our viewers, as the case might be, Bama Pro Updates, who sends something to us every week, has posted a picture, and there's Tommy in a post-game celebration with a white cap on. Maybe I think this is as an Oriole, because it looks like it's at Camden Yards, and he's corralling about a 8 Budweiser. He's blue cans of Bud Light, like the tall boy. And then there's one of him corralling Bud Heavy, the regular Bud, and getting champagne poured on his head in the locker room, I think also in Baltimore. So Bama Pro Updates asks, Bud or Bud Light?
I was just trying to get that endorsement deal, to be honest with you. At that point, we were just trying to make a few dollars. But at post-game celebrations, Bud Heavy is the only way to go.
There you go. All right. Awesome. Ryan Phillips, Journo Ryan, who has been a guest on the show with us with Tuscaloosa Patch. Big covers the team, does a great job with his news outlet. Who are some big-time hitters you had the most success against, and why?
Ooh. Early on, Miguel Cabrera is probably my top, the guy I got a lot. And then tides turned rather quickly later on in the career, and it went opposites. But I think early on in my career, I had a lot of success early, just for the fact nobody knew who I was, and there was just I was the new face, and I was able to hit spots. I mean, that was kind of it, and that kind of helped me out. Who else? There was a lot of the Seattle guys. So Renteria, Edgar Renteria. There was who else? That was San Francisco with Edgar Renteria. You had Beltre. Loved facing Beltre.
Did you really?
Yeah, loved it. Guys I hated facing, Ichiro. The guy was amazing. David Ortiz, I hated facing him. He hit home runs off me every day. Seemed like, but I mean, like the battles, the individual battles were really fun in baseball because I mean
Sure.
everybody knew who you were getting hit on and who was doing damage. So
yeah,
those inner battles were great.
Okay. Anthony Pacey's bullpen catcher, at C Brizio. Can you ask Tommy what was going through his head after the Ozzy walk-off?
Oh, career is
retirement.
Yeah, career is over.
That retires you right there.
Send him off. See you later. No, he clipped it. Hit it into the chop house. To say it was my first one, no. Was it my greatest walk off I've ever given up? No, it wasn't. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I grew up a Braves fan, which is weird. And
in Indiana, yeah. Well, they were Superstation. I mean,
family.
Yeah, and I got family down there as well. So I grew up a big Atlanta fan. So everybody, all the memes, whatever. I'm still, it is what it is.
All right. Tyler Wilcox at Johnny MySpace always sends us a question. Big fan of the podcast. This is for the crew in general. Any chance we can work out a system where Greg Goff is back on staff for the weekend anytime we have a road trip to Lee County?
So, Tommy, Greg Goff was our coach in 2017 only. They won 4 conference games, but they went down to Auburn and swept.
I think we won 5, Roger. I believe
five.
Don't sell us short.
I think we're 5 and 20.
5, 24 and 1. I was at that tie was at Vanderbilt on this Sunday. But yeah, they won 3 at Auburn and 2 the whole rest of the year.
Yeah. At Greg Goff Field at Plainsman Park, as we refer to it. But John Young Sr., dad of John Young Jr., obviously. Asked
Big Phillies guy, Tommy.
Big Philly guy, yeah.
South Jersey.
Yep. How many football natties would you trade for one College World Series ring, if any, for the group in general? I'd trade all of them, frankly.
Who cares about football?
I just want to add to it. I don't want to take anything away.
I'll sacrifice the next 5 Iron Bowls
go ahead.
for just a 1 CWS berth. Go
ahead, Megan.
I mean, 1941, we didn't technically win, so we can trade that one for.
Yeah, we can trade that. Yeah, definitely. I know I had a couple others. Let me dig around here and let's see. But it was a couple of days ago, I think, when we sent them out on Monday. If I find them, I'll send them around to the group. Here we go. Here it is. Haas Flowers always sends us a question. Always appreciate it. Is it safe to assume that the Jordan-Hare voodoo has moved to Plainsman Park after our last 2 series there? Is that a thing? I mean, is it okay? Like here's what I told somebody today. The Auburn football program exists for one reason and one reason only. It's the Alabama game at Jordan-Hare every 2 years. There's no other relevance to that football program. Baseball doesn't feel. I mean, baseball there's had a little more success. I mean, they got swept at Georgia the weekend before. I kind of felt like this weekend was a little more on us than on them. Don't you, Megan? I mean,
yeah, I would echo that. And even last year, it was kind of the same thing of like, I don't want to say, we were too big for our britches both years in a row, but like I guess to a broader extent, it kind of felt that way of like, I think we went in expecting to win series. And I don't mean the team we, I mean, maybe from a fan base we, but like, it felt like that's what was expected to happen 2 years in a row. And then it just didn't. I think it's a testament that like, also that Auburn for 2 years in a row is a better team than like maybe everything else would show too.
Yeah. Right. A team that lost a lot of 1-run games last year and had a terrible 8-22 in the conference has kind of flipped the script on that. Although we did beat them in a 1-run game over the weekend, and they won another one yesterday against Georgia Tech midweek, and a pretty good showdown that was going on while we were playing. So that's all from our viewers this way. I really appreciate it. You guys sending things in every week. Tommy, this has been a blast. We could go on all night. I think you probably would just be right here with us. But we'll cut it here. You ever get down? Bring the whole family down? Or come down?
We need to do that. I need to get down. That's something we need to do. My boys talk about it all the time. My wife has got them up here. My wife went to Ohio State, living in Ohio, so it's like We need to get down there.
Yeah.
We need to get the boys. Let them know. Get some Southern hospitality down there.
Yeah.
I want to mention one thing that we didn't mention yet
Sure.
about Tommy's career. In 2010, he led the American League in winning percentage. Went 13-4.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
That was a fun one.
Fourth and with a sub 4, like a 3.73 ERA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Started a World Series game. I mean,
nice. Yeah.
I mean, that's strong.
Yeah, that was a fun year. I actually, my phone flipped upside down during this podcast at one point. Actually, the guy that called in was wanting me to go hunting, Cliff Lee. He was actually calling in. We're setting up.
You used to go hunting with him. You still hunt with him?
Me and him are pretty close buddies.
Right.
And he was calling in. That's why I had to flip it, to switch it. I was like, and then I saw Roger going like this over there. It's pretty fun, But yeah, no, that was a fun year. 2010 was wild. You know, like the World Series, all that. You know, and like I said, I talk to Cliff quite a bit. We go hunting a couple times a year, and
nice.
You know, you keep those friendships like that. Yeah. But yeah, good times.
Were you you and Chris Davis still close?
Oh yeah. I was actually talking to him this morning. We were just you know, it's getting to the point where families are kind of, you know, all of our kids are, you know, it's just we're so busy.
So much activity. Yeah.
But I mean, you stay in touch with everybody. I mean, it's, you know, and it's kind of like those friendships that you have that you could go months and months without seeing somebody, but when you see them, you pick up like you've never, you know, when no time has passed, right? So that's the beautiful thing about it, and everybody's kind of used to it because, you know, we lived those separate lives for so many years that, you know, there's no different now.
Yeah. Great. Well, hey, Tommy, we really appreciate it. Best of luck to you and your kids.
Thanks for having me.
Don't get thrown out any more games.
Yeah. I know. I gotta keep my cool.
Hey, do you still talk with Lindor?
Yeah, Frankie's good. And my second son, my Oliver, my 7-year-old, when they would go into the clubhouse, my oldest son would go to Pete Alonso's locker, and Ollie would go straight to Lindor's locker, and they would just sit there till the guys came in. So my kids had a blast. I mean,
that's cool.
Him and Frankie are pretty close.
Okay. You know, I'm going to text or call you about something. I want to see if you Mike can do for us.
Yeah, we can get it. We'll go up to New York a couple times this year, and they'll come when they come to Cleveland too. So we hang out quite a bit.
I know you said he was like one of your favorite teammates.
Oh, dude, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, great.
He's unreal.
Man, what a great play. He was when he was playing for Cleveland. He was one of my favorite guys.
Yeah. Well, he's an even better person. So it goes hand in hand. Like he's a special human being.
Excellent. Love to hear that.
All right. Well, great. Well, hey, thanks everybody. Another great podcast. I would love to have a guest, especially with Tommy's knowledge and background and stories. It was all great to do. For Roger Myers, for Meghan Dennis, for Drew Champlin, for Tommy Hunter, our guest, I'm Paul Graham. Thanks this week. Again, Christian Sykes, who's behind the scenes, stays up late with us every night. Crimson Crossover for producing and getting this out to us the next morning. We'll get this out. And always Peter Slight and Cam Plan, who will take us away right now with our theme song. We will see you next week on another episode of the Weekly Joe.
Swing it, boys, swing for the fence. Shove it, boys, make 'em miss. Some big league chew and a baseball souvenir. Come on, sing with me now. The Joe is home, sweet home. It's roll, tide, roll. The Joe is home, that's right. Home, sweet home. Hey, look, is that Roll Tide Willie over there? Well, it's Bama Blitz.